It is preview season here on Armchair Analysis, and today we're talking about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This is a team that last year was pretty competitive, but yet still ended up being just barely above 500. We'll talk about what they need to do to improve, talk about their offseason moves, and talk about their returning production, along with a schedule prediction, all 12 games. If you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. All that helps us. We're trying to reach our goal of 125 subscribers before the end of the month. I think it's certainly possible. We got about, 14, 15 days left to do it. Because today is July 16th, 2025. So if we can make that happen, greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's go ahead and get into the preview today. This team last year went 7-6, 5-3 in ACC play. They averaged 28.9 points per game. That was 55th in college football. Average allowing 25.6 points per game. That was 72nd. Their turnover margin was exactly 0 per game. That was 59th. They brought in a 21st ranked recruiting class, a 33rd ranked portal class with 24 commitments. And they look to kind of shore up some details and try to figure things out. The coaching staff offensively remains largely the same. Buster Faulkner comes back. They got quarterback coach Chris Winkie still in the fold. Defensively, though, Tyler Santucci, gone. He's off to NFL. He's helping the Ravens linebacker room. He's a new linebacker coach up there. Blake Gideon, former safeties coach at Texas, comes in and is going to take over that job. Excited to see what that puts together. But for right now, really kind of excited, but a cautious optimism, I think, for this offense in 2025. Or for the defense, sorry. The offense is not a cautious optimism. It is a full-blown, we're stoked for what this team can be. 5 returning starters, including quarterback Haynes King, running back Jamal Haynes, and wide receiver Malik Rutherford, along with 2 more returning starters. The offensive guards both return from last year, those being Keelan Rutledge and Joe Fusili. Otherwise, there's a lot to talk about because they lose Eric Singleton. He goes on to Auburn. He's now a part of that team. But they bring in Eric Rivers from FIU. I think he's going to be a big deal. They also bring in Dean Patterson from FIU. I think he's going to be kind of a quiet name that you should pay attention to. Isaiah Canyon, Bailey Stockton, 2 other wide receivers that you need to keep an eye on. Traylon Maddox is going to be the spell running back for Jamal Haynes. And then Brett Seether, the tight end. This team as a whole, I think, is really solid. They were a top 15 team in pass blocking grade at 76.9. They were 43rd in run blocking. Thankfully, they have a really good running back that can take that. I think Maddox is going to be really good too, so I'm not too worried about the running back room. It's really not even the passing game. I really like Eric Rivers. I think he is I ranked him in my top 10 wide receivers in college football, and I buy it. I still buy it. I don't know if I'd put him as high as I did before, but he is certainly a guy that we need to be paying attention to because he is very, very solid. A great route runner, a lot of speed, good size. Like, he is just a complete receiver. I think he can make a lot of things happen for this Georgia Tech offense and especially be that distraction from Malik Rutherford. This offense as a whole, I expect to be really good this year. I think they're going to continue to build off of what they did last year. Haynes King's health is obviously concern number 1 and priority number 1. He certainly needed to stay healthy after last year. But even if not, they really trust Aaron Philo to step in and be that guy if they need him. And so I don't think we're going to see as much caution about Haynes King, but I think the question mark is his health. How healthy can he be throughout the year? Will he go down for any period of time? If he stays healthy, this Georgia Tech team is really set offensively. If not, even then, I think Aaron Philo can fill in, and they may lose an extra game or 2, but can be a good player. On the defensive side of the ball, they got 4 returning starters, including Kyle Eford, who is pretty much an all-everything linebacker for them over the last couple of years. He pretty much leads every category when it comes to tackles for loss, sacks in terms of returning production. 64 tackles last year, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. Amari Harvey leads the team in forced fumbles last year with 1 returning. And the team returns multiple players who had 1 pick apiece, to include Kyle Eford. This team did not force many turnovers. They only forced 12, or turnover opportunities. Again, forced fumbles and interceptions, not fumble recoveries and interceptions. They forced 12 total turnover opportunities, 7 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions. They're looking to improve off of that, and they bring in some transfers, hopefully, that will help them. A.J. Hoffler from Clemson comes in. He's going to be on the defensive line, if I'm not mistaken. Matthew Alexander comes in from UCF. Ronald Triplett comes over from UTSA. That's going to be a big help to the defensive line. And then Jai Gilmore comes in from Georgia State to try to help out in the secondary. They are really looking for an improvement. Tyler Santucci, in his first year, kind of broke onto the scene and became a guy that I really liked as a defensive coordinator. Thought he was super smart, super aggressive. Last year, it seemed as though they tamed it down due to the fact of a lack of experience, maybe even a lack of confidence in the team as a whole. This year, I expect maybe a return to aggression. Blake Gideon has been, at least to my understanding, deemed as a guy who's going to be more aggressive, more in line to go after the turnovers, go after the big play, the plays in the backfield. And if that is truly what's going to happen, I think the Georgia Tech defense should improve because they have the talent. It's just a matter of usage, and I think, again, last year was a question of experience. This year they got a lot of upperclassmen, and how are they going to fill in, and take over their roles? It's a team with a lot of question marks defensively, but I think that they can be okay. When it comes to overall thoughts, though, this team really just, the biggest thing was defense for me, but I also made mention of offense and saying this. The team returns the key guys on offense, but the portal helped the defense a bit to improve. They need to improve last year's yards per play average. They gave up 6 yards per play last year. If they want to contend in the ACC, we need to cut that down probably to 4 something at a minimum, or at a maximum, I guess, in that case. But they get a lot of tests early, and teams who are going to be faster paced offenses and just better off offenses early in the season. They start with that road trip to Colorado. They get Clemson in week 3. Even Wake Forest could pose a bit of an issue depending upon how they progress through this season. They get Duke as well, Syracuse, Georgia late in the year, but Pitt and Boston College are going to be 2 teams that can move the ball. Like, they have a rough, not as easy of a schedule as you would think. I think the ACC is up this year, and let's go ahead and take a look at that schedule. They're favored, or their win total is set at 7.5. Their odds to win the ACC are plus 1,300. Their odds to win a national championship are plus 15,000. They have, again, that road trip to Colorado, and I'm realizing that there is something severely messed up with this. All right, slight mistake in my on my part, but now it's fixed. They do have that road trip opening Friday night against Colorado. They get a road trip to Wake Forest, road trip against Duke, NC State, Boston College. They get a lot of their tougher games at home. Clemson, Georgia, Syracuse, Pitt, Virginia Tech. Like, those games being at home are helpful. But it's a good balance, and, well, maybe not a good balance. I don't know if I'd say that specifically if I'm a fan of Georgia Tech, but I think it's a good balance of home and road. And, you get a lot of tough road games, but you get some games that you certainly don't want to play on the road at home as well. So it'll be an interesting schedule to watch them kind of maneuver through. But let's go ahead and predict this schedule for Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They start off in week 1, and it's just 2 teams that I'm not sure how I feel about their defense, but I think both offenses will be good. I'm trusting in the Colorado defense a little bit more in this game. I'm going to take Colorado to get the win. That's not correct either. Let me go correct this. Okay, now hopefully without any further interruptions or mistakes on my end, they get the loss to Colorado in week number 1. You get Gardner Webb in week 2, a good chance to bounce back, kind of figure out your defensive problems. But then you kind of go right back to the problem, and you lose to Clemson. And that's just simply because Clemson is just that good. Again, I've said it multiple times. They're kind of my favorite as a preseason number 1. and for obvious reasons. I think their roster is loaded. I think they are probably, I won't say head and shoulders above the rest in the conference, but there's only maybe one or two teams I think can truly compete on the field with this Clemson team. So Georgia Tech currently not one of them. They'll start 1-2, but they'll get it back with a win over Temple. They'll get a win on the road against Wake Forest, and a win against Virginia Tech, which I think is going to be kind of a momentum builder as you go. Those three games are just not necessarily light games, but games that, Temple's working in a new head coach. Casey Keeler's going to step in and over time, I think, really help them out. Jake Dickert, same situation at Wake Forest. I think that's going to work over time, but early on, returns may not be high. And then you got Virginia Tech, who has, talent, but we just haven't seen the coaching match the talent. And I think that that's kind of their biggest problem as of this point in the Brent Pry tenure. But it started 4-2 early in the season. Not bad at all through 6 games. You then go on the road to face Duke coming in, and I think that this is a game between two teams that have, again, solid offense. I don't think Duke really questions their defense. I think Georgia Tech does. At this point, they'll kind of understand who they are and how to adjust. I think the offense of Georgia Tech is just good enough to get them by in this one. They'll get the win. It won't be good enough, however, to get them by against Syracuse. I think they'll lose that game. I'm really, really excited for Fran Brown and this team, and we haven't gotten a chance to talk much about them because they haven't been on many schedules that we've predicted. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Syracuse brings to the table. This matchup, these last two that we've just talked about, Duke and Syracuse against Georgia Tech, both I think are going to be really fun games. You'll get a road trip against NC State to Carter Finley, and it really depends on where NC State is at this point in the season, but I think that it's going to be a safe bet to say win there. A tough road trip, but coming out of a bye week against Boston College and Chestnut Hill, I think that being coming out of a bye is going to help out a little bit. Georgia Tech will win that one. A tough game with Pitt, but Pitt's in the middle of their own tough 3-game stretch at the end of the season themselves, which is why I am going to sit here and take Georgia Tech to win, because I think this game falls in between two tougher games than originally thought. I know Notre Dame's one of them. I'm trying to remember who the other one is on their schedule at that point. I have to go back to the beginning of the month on my predictions here and see who they have yet to play in that regard. It's Notre Dame, and then they close out with Miami. That's what it is. So they just kind of fit in the middle of this as like a kind of a sleeper team. I think Pitt's the better team. I just think that coming into the schedule where they are gives Georgia Tech a bit of an advantage. And then they'll close the season with Georgia. I think they're going to lose that game. Might be as close as last year, might not. Hard to say. Last year was an all-time classic for this rivalry, and this year I think it's kind of going to just go back into the hands of Georgia being the more dominant team, having a more consistent offense, a better defense, and Georgia Tech just not really being able to find a way to complete the woes that are going to plague them defensively. They weren't terrible, like I said. I mean, they only had 25 points per game. It's not like they were awful, but it's just enough to kind of take yourself out of contention for a conference championship. I don't know that they get much better because I haven't seen it from a lot of the players on this roster, even though they are experienced. They'll be interesting to watch. They sit there at 8-4. I have them at 6-2 in conference play, which I think is a really good run. I mean, that's one win better in conference play. At least if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's one win better both in conference play and in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken, because they did lose to Vanderbilt in the postseason in their bowl game. So that improvement, I think, is a big deal, and continuing to show that Brent Key is the guy kind of for this job. We'll see what Blake Gideon is. I think that's kind of the biggest question mark for me is the defensive side of the ball. What will they be? If they improve what they're missing, it's going to be a good team. If they don't improve what they're missing, then I think it's there's some question marks to be had. Either way, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I always enjoy having that that interaction down there, and it's always really appreciated. Hope you guys again enjoyed. Let me know what I may have missed, what you guys think, and again, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, especially if you're new. We're trying to hit 125 subscribers by the time the month of July ends. If you guys can help me out, that'd be appreciated. Hope these videos get out a little further as we continue to grow here on this channel and push forward in preview season towards the playing season, as I call it. Tomorrow, July 17th, we have the Baylor Bears, and I'm excited for them. Dave Aranda's got what should be a really good team going into this year with a lot of returning production, a really good offensive coordinator, and I think just a defense that's going to be even further improved off of what they've done the last couple of seasons. So appreciate y'all. Tune in tomorrow for Baylor, and we will see you then.